Hey guys, welcome to the Forsaken Podcast. I'm Grim Reaper, joined today by Rygothran
What in the hell is your problem, Bobby?
and Magick.
Wow. Hello. Hey, how you doing?
Oh man,
You them boys been whacking?
I've been whacking in my tool shed. Speaking of whacking, how does one whack their way into a?
That's a good segue.
Wow. Yes, that's what I was thinking.
how, how does one whack their way into some of the higher? What are they called? Seats, I guess, of a cabal. What do you call those? Like trusted
Ranks?
and elder ranks.
Missions?
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. How do you whack your way into the higher rank?
Roleplay, for the most part. Roleplay definitely takes precedence over precedence over PK. I know that whenever I was the Immortal of Syndicate, you needed like 3 to get 3 heads in order to get trusted. And then there was really no number. I think after that, maybe there was something like 9 or something like that for Elder, but I never followed that if there was. It was always for me roleplay. And I think that's for most Immortals as well as roleplay. As long as you can do the roleplay, you should get the ranks. And that's like a lot. Some of that is also like Cabal roleplay, like furthering your Cabal's agenda, sending notes and role playing with your Cabal folks. And then also a big thing, in my opinion, is acting like you're a trusted or a elder leader, and that's pretty much just the same thing of just being a leader in general.
Yeah, dress for the position that you want, not for the position you have.
Took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say that. So anybody listening, I said that. Magick just said it. It was his voice, but I said that.
You trying to steal my thunder, huh, Grim?
I had been thinking about that the entire time he was talking, and then Magick said it. But that's neither here nor there.
Dress for the job you want, not the one you have.
So PK has absolutely nothing to do with anything.
I wouldn't say that it doesn't have anything to do. I'm sure that people have been promoted. I'm sure that
you said RP. You said RP.
Can I finish?
Yes, go ahead.
I'm sure that in the past and even probably in the future, people will be promoted based off of their roleplay ability. I'm sorry, PK ability. But yeah, I'm sure that it's happened and it will happen, and that's just the way it is. But I'm just saying, if you want to get up in the Cabal ranks, roleplay is the best and fastest way to do it. I mean, eventually, most likely, you're going to get promoted.
Longevity.
Yes. I mean, it would depend on sub-Cabal as well. I mean, Loth, when he was running Nexus, he was in there stating that though he expects Reavers to PK more than RP and vice versa for Pandy. So it would reflect, or at least as far as trust is concerned.
Well, I don't know if you said it that way. As far as PK is more important than RP, but I think it is more important than it is for Pandemonium. And, Reaver is supposed to be roleplayed different than Pandemonium. Same thing with Praetorian and Knight versus Sigil. Obviously, one is a less aggressive Cabal and one is, more aggressive. So the more aggressive is definitely going to have to show some PK. Maybe not have to, but it will sure help. I mean, because not everyone's good at PK, so but everyone can roleplay. Even if you're not great at it, you can still roleplay and get somewhere. And you can get a lot better, a lot easier, in my opinion, than you can at PK, because, PK, it takes a lot of getting beat on and dying and crying and getting mad, and that's the only way that and then looking at yourself objectively, and then that's how you get better with it. But yeah, I think that even for sub-Cabal like Reaver, your roleplay will carry you through faster, in my opinion.
The roleplay is the oil that greases the wheels of promotion, is what you're saying.
Yes, that is what I am saying.
And the PK is like the icing on the cake.
Yes, if that's how you want to look at it.
Yes.
It really goes hand in hand. But yeah, I always put emphasis on roleplay, and I'm pretty sure most of the Cabal Immortals do put emphasis on roleplay.
I mean, because this is we've spoken about this off tape before. FL could still be FL without PK, but it could not be FL without RP. The RP is the foundation. It is the soil from which the story blooms and blossoms, and we water it with our characters, which are each individual drops of nourishing water that goes into the soil and allows the seeds to germinate.
Okay, cutting off Grimm's monologue here. This is a little soliloquy. Yeah, FL is basically RP enforced, and it's PK optional. It's as simple as that.
There you go. Yeah, that's pretty simple. I like that.
Yeah, you definitely don't have to PK.
And it's PK restricted as well.
You know, I think that there is a misconception there that people think that you have to PK, and in certain situations you do. If you're in a Cabal and you have to fight Cabal warfare, yes, you're going to have to PK. There's no way around it.
There's few ways around it.
Yeah, well, there's few ways around it, I suppose. Depends on the Cabal and the situation. But there is one thing that I kind of wanted to touch on, and I'm not for sure if... I really need to get clarification on this, and maybe I shouldn't bring it up, but whenever I played a Nexus and the Vestiana was around, we used to, every so often, in between her beating the shit out of my character, we would take time and we would roleplay a little bit. And I don't know what other Cabal Immortals' thoughts are on this, but I know that my own is, if you want to take time out and roleplay with your enemy, I think that's perfectly fine, as long as you're not doing it all the time, and as long as you're not doing it to avoid, basically, getting beat on. But just, to create that dialogue and, to have that back and forth. I think that a lot of times some people complain because Immortals come down on them whenever they're not actually getting involved in PK. And I don't know specifically what the situations are, but I think that you should be able to, as, a Cabal person, be able to discuss things with your enemy Cabal.
Take a break from the action. All PK all the time is, frankly, quite boring.
Well, because it's like, what are you even fighting over at that point? Any good superhero, supervillain, relationship is just that. It's a relationship. There's a lot of back and forth. And you have to have that RP reinforcement of, why are we fighting? You have to develop that. You have to have a good relationship to them. Because if that's your arch enemy, y'all are essentially in a relationship together. Y'all are married. Until one of you dies. There's got to be some good conversations in that. There's got to be over here.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think it should, and I think that maybe as Immortals, we should pay more attention to that, because I have heard players complain that they can't do that, and if they do, they get yelled at. I don't know if that's just the players feeling like that, and it's not actually that way, or if there's a legitimate concern there. I think there's other factors involved with that. But yeah, I think that should be one thing that you do, and I think going back to the promotions, that should be, especially one thing that a leader will do. Or an elder, the higher ranks, they're going to take more time to roleplay, especially with the lower Cabal ranks in the opposite Cabal, or even, their, elder and leader in the opposing Cabal. But this way, you're not just an elder or a leader, pulverizing an inductee or a member. Every once in a while, sure, you're still going to pulverize them, but then you're going to take a side and be at least have a conversation with them, so it doesn't wear players out, because there's, you just get wore out if you're getting beat on all the damn time. And there's no back and forth, with roleplay.
Well, and to touch on the Immortals, prodding you to do stuff, nothing kills the game more for me than being on an Immortal. And granted, this hadn't happened in a long time, but an immortal being like, go kill so and so, go kill so and so, blah blah. It's like, dude, there's plenty of PK in this game, man. Chill out. Like, let me play my fucking character and get out of my shit. I hate that so much.
I try not to do that, but sometimes it's necessary if you need to give someone a task or if they want something from you and there needs to be a task.
Yeah, I mean, give them a task, but I mean, the same old song and dance of like you're in like a warring cabal, like, you know, getting an echo for more like go kill, blah blah, bring me his head. It's like, god damn, dude, that's it. That's lazy, in my opinion. Not knock on the immortals, but please fucking stop and let us play the goddamn game.
Yeah, and Ali had a good point here in general chat where he basically said that being restricted to tells between people it kind of sucks for roleplay, and so like if you know you should be able to get together in the same room with without
them attacking
whoever
and
it
being able
is.
to RP.
Personally,
Yeah.
I hate RP across tells. It's just too damn limiting.
It is, but that takes the players being cool enough to do that, because it's hard for people get itchy trigger fingers when their enemy's right there and they see their sanctuary down.
That's kind of the fun part of it. There's a danger element, the conversation could go bad and it could turn on you, and next thing you know you're in a fight that maybe you're not prepared for.
Sometimes with the person that you're talking to.
Yes. That's what I'm saying, yeah. I mean, the conversation could go downhill.
Sure, it could. But still, it shouldn't, I don't know. I mean, people are going to conduct themselves however they want. But I think it's better to be open to RPing with your enemy, and it's like face-to-face, and knowing that y'all aren't going to fight right then. Maybe you're going to fight later. Maybe you're going to fight after the conversation, something. Some kind of mutual respect as players, because we're all kind of just like improv actors anyway. Like, let's not be dickheads and try to steal the fucking spotlight all the time.
See, now that there's a little bit of a touchy subject because everybody wants to promote and push their own RP, and few are willing to sit down and bounce other people's RP off themselves.
Yeah, which, again, in my opinion, that's lame RP, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I try to let my characters be open-ended so that if somebody has a good idea, I can jump in on it with it, because then two heads are better than one at that point. You're having something really cool going on if you jump in on somebody else's instead of just like, here's my RP, let me throw it at you.
It's certainly a balance. It is a skill that kind of needs refinement for some people, and it's just something that needs to be practiced a little more by others.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a misconception that roleplay is like in your face. This is what I am. This is who I am. I'm going to tell you my entire history within the first, 2 minutes of us talking, and why I'm doing what I'm doing. Or, it doesn't. Yeah. I don't think it has to be like that. It can be subtle. It can be, you're just. I mean, I look at it as you're just another person in the world of FL, and you don't. You're not going to go around in real life, and again, I hate to compare FL to real life, but you're not going to go around in real life and tell people there's those rare people that want to tell you their whole story whenever they first meet you, but not everyone does that, and so it takes you kind of out of the immersion if people are doing that, where they're basically, you talk to them and they're saying, like they're an undead wannabe at level 30. They feel like that they have to let it known that they're an undead wannabe at 30. That's not necessarily true. You just have to role play. You just role play. You play your character, and then you'll get where you want to go. I mean, that's why you have journals and you have notes, and you can have that reflection and that other side of your character, the inner side of your character, if you will, the inner thoughts and your dreams and desires. Now, eventually you can obviously share that with people as you want, but I mean, just like the in the face thing, it's really, it takes you out of the immersion of the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, it definitely does. I usually approach it with like, yes, my character will have a background story, but usually I just RP him as a personality. Like, he reacts to certain things this way, he reacts to certain things that way. I try to keep it open-ended, like where the character is going. I don't have like a predetermined destination for him, you know what I mean? Maybe a cabal in mind or something, but other than that, I try to keep it open-ended. And I like to jump in on other people's RP, because it's better that way.
But some people like set goals, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But you're not going to walk up to everybody like Rygo was saying, and you're not going to. You don't do it in real life where you walk up and you start telling them, "Oh, I want to be a doctor, and I'm taking this course and that course." And it's like people. Okay, in game it's a little bit different, but in the real world, people don't care unless they're invested in you to begin with.
I remember I was in a group several years ago with, I think, a vampire wannabe and some other dude. And the vampire wannabe was, like, leading on, like, real hard, like, I'm going to be a vampire type RP, you know, like, letting a hint on there. And we said something about life. And the vampire was like, or the vampire wannabe was like, life, more like pain. The other guy in the group I was with was like, and we're off. And I laughed about that.
That's kind of shitty of that person.
Dude, but we were hearing this, like, it was funny because we were thinking the same damn thing. That dude just said it in kind of a, I guess, an OOC way, but I thought that was funny because that's how I felt too. It's like, here comes the life story.
Yeah. I don't know. I understand why you want to do that, but at some point it's just too much.
What are your thoughts on mounts?
That came out of left field there.
Yeah, that wasn't a very good segue compared to the one earlier.
Okay, I didn't know we were keeping.
What about mounts? Why do we even need to discuss mounts?
Well, that's the thing. They're kind of a bland factor in the game. I mean, is there something around mounts we could do to kind of like enhance the game?
Mounts I see serve one purpose and one purpose only, and that's to reduce movement cost from point A to point B.
What about epic mounts?
Epic mounts. Okay, so I don't know what you mean by this, but I assume that you mean like getting mounts involved in PK more than like a paladin would, right?
Ooh. Maybe your horse rears up and kicks him or something if you're mounted and you have mounted combat or something, or even like a quest or something that gives you like a permanent mount, like some kind of cool mount, or even if mounts
basically a pet.
Yeah, kind of, but not.
Which is
not
possible today. Okay, not a pet. Okay.
Not necessarily. I mean, I'm kind of spitballing here. Is that the word they use? Spitballing?
Yes. I know somebody who offered a suggestion and then kind of implemented it in their own, but they looked at mounts and made an actual mob that you can mount and ride around and dismount and so on and so forth, and it will follow you. And if you went through a door, it would stay on the other side and perhaps wander off. If you were dismounted, it might wander off, and anybody could come up and steal that mount from you.
I know who you're talking about, and I saw that code, and I thought it was actually cool.
Someone can come steal your mount?
Yeah, horse thief.
Yeah, horse thief.
While you're asleep?
Why wouldn't that be the case?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a big thing in medieval times. The idea that our mounts are invisible, and when we fall asleep, we don't like get off of them. We just fall off of the mount onto our faces. Even
Joe Blow wakes up and screams, "Help! Someone's trying to steal my mount."
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, actually, I think that was part of the thing. Is if you failed to mount properly because you have failed chance, then you could wake the person up.
Gives an edge in PK. It's another PK factor for shit. Like get them away from their mount.
Yeah, well, speaking of this whole mount thing and how they might be involved in combat, what you're doing is you're introducing a whole new variable into the balance of the game. And that can be nightmarish. But yeah, I don't think like the stealing the mount thing would be like a big deal. But honestly, let me ask you this question. If you're walking up upon someone asleep, are you more likely to just outright attack them, or are you more likely to cast a spell or try to steal their mount?
And if I'm a neutral, just kind of a fun character, I'll probably steal your mount. That gives me an option as a neutral.
Stealing is an act of aggression.
Okay, that's right.
It's against the neutral roleplay.
Right. Neutrals can't steal mounts. Don't get me started on this again, please.
Well, if mounts were able to be brought into combat, then I can see that. But if they're not attackable, then yeah, absolutely. Thieves hop on and run the fuck away.
I'd like to see at least Paladin. I wish Goliath was at least like an actual pet, that was there. It did some shit.
I think Paladin could be redone a little bit to be a little bit. I mean, I'm talking about. I'm not talking about changes for because they need it. I'm talking about changes for change's sake. So I don't know if it's a great idea. Like if their class was more centered around being mounted and
yeah,
you know,
it makes them unique. It makes them unique. Like I feel like each class should have its like unique identity. Like that's what this class is. Paladins are kind of like a hodgepodge of ding dongs that have been taped together, you know, and then you swing those around and hopefully get a kill. But
no, I don't know what you mean. Can you elaborate on that a little, please?
If you took ding dongs and tried to make nunchucks out of them. What?
What the hell are you doing tying chocolate confectionery around together? Huh?
Well, that's what it feels like. That's what it feels like when you're attacking somebody who's a paladin. It's like, I'm gonna go get this motherfucker. Let me get my ding dong nunchucks and go after him.
Depending on the cabal, paladins can be pretty buff. Like if tribunal, like a paladin's pretty buff in my opinion, because they have that little bit of extra from the mob, from the tribunal guard.
I guess I wish they could use heroism with Goliath, you know, and like Goliath be a thing that's like doubles as the pet that they can't use for whatever, or if like it procced, like it does like a horse kick occasionally, you know, or it like, you know what I mean? It scares you with its ferocity.
Well, there's no horse that's gonna scare my hero, but yeah.
That's not true. That's not true. It's a big dude, it's Goliath.
I mean, you can get elephants, okay? Ride elephants from Valmiran, okay?
Elephants
Some horse is not gonna scare my character.
Dude, elephants
are by the way, that I'm aware of anyway, are the only ones that large creatures can actually mount.
Elephants?
Yeah, I don't think war horses in Miravor or Maelbrim can count a large creature.
I think it's
like
Battle Mount, Maelbrim, but yeah.
Battle Mountain. Either way,
whatever, the 2,000 gold one.
An elephant's like a cow of the savannah. Okay, Goliath. I'm thinking like a huge steed, it's like breathing like steam out its nose. It's mad. It's ready to trample you. Like yeah.
Are you talking about like a hell horse from one of the apocalypse? I mean, we're talking about paladin here.
Yeah, but we're talking about like
okay,
dude.
Like a big, white shining steed.
A dire Clydesdale.
Holy stuff can still be scary, especially the evil stuff. If it's some big ass like, you know, like stark white like steed that's like ready to, you know, you can just see the holy aura emanating off of it, and it's ready to get after you. It's ready to stomp.
What you're talking about now here is nay, I'm gonna get you.
No, I mean, I'm not. I didn't
you're
ask
gonna be afraid of this fucking horse,
dude. If you had
what kind of evil are you?
If you had a warhorse nightmare, whatever the hell, charging down on you in full barding, your ass should at least be worried.
Yeah, dude, it's covered in like armors and shit. It's pissed and it's riding, dude. This dude's riding you down with his lance, like he's about to slay you. You're evil. He's coming after you. That should be scary.
No, I don't like this. I'm sorry, but you have a hero who's killing dragons. Okay,
it's called Goliath. It's called Goliath. This isn't Mr. Ed we're talking about. This is Goliath.
Mr. Ed.
You know what I mean?
It's not that scary. I'm sorry.
It's not even real.
You're killing dragons. You're killing ogres. I mean, you're killing giants. You're killing
demons. I think dragons are some of the
you're afraid of a paladin's horse?
Dude, yeah, because it's what the horse represents, dude. That's like the whole.
It's the extension of the paladin.
Yes.
Well, obviously we don't fear paladins, do we? We're talking about how
apparently not.
That's what and that's why. Listen to the immortal staff right here talking down about paladins and how they can't be frightening here and imposing on anybody. Right here, you're just turning it into like a little daycare center, you know, for little babies. And that's not what this is, dude.
You heard it here, folks. Paladins suck by Rygo himself.
Yeah,
I didn't say paladins suck. In fact, earlier I said they can be very potent.
Sorry, no. You should not be afraid of paladins because you kill dragons and giants and stuff like that. So paladins, whatever.
You should be.
I pissed some paladins' boots. All right,
dude. You should be afraid of paladins. If you're an evildoer, like if you're real evil, you should be seriously afraid of paladins.
Sure, some henchmen would be afraid, but we're talking about the player characters are heroes or anti-heroes. They're villains, right? So they're not necessarily going to be afraid of a paladin. They're going to be the ones that go up and fight the paladin, unless they're just like a coward.
Do you see what you're doing?
I'm gonna roll a DK that has a phobia of paladins now. Just because.
You go right ahead. It won't bother me one bit, and I'll give you -1 roleplay every time you talk.
You heard it here first. He's using his immortal abilities to cheat and do what he wants.
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm doing.
He plays a dragon. Ooh, where'd you come up with that idea?
Hey, I'm taking notes right now, Graham. Keep it up.
I'm saying, a dragon, of all things you could have been, you chose a dragon. That's like the, you know.
Yeah, because,
cliche.
Yeah, there you go.
It was either that or it was like the cliche of like the halfling businessman in.
What? Why that? Wait, why would it be between that? Why would it be between those two?
What do you mean?
Why would it be between a halfling businessman and a dragon?
Well, because I had to pick something that was going to make sense for Syndicate, because that's what eventually I was going to be taking over. So yeah, I could have gone with something else, but I couldn't have gone with evil. I had to be a neutral. So there were certain stipulations.
And that's what you picked? I mean, obviously that's what you picked, but I mean, come on. Dragon.
Yeah, I picked dragon. I picked dragon because
could have thought of that in like
dragons are like powerful mystic creatures.
You mean you could have been like Mr. Halon's younger nephew, and you passed on that?
Ooh, that's cool.
Who's Mr.
Duck Empire?
From the Slaughterhouse. Here you heard it here first, guys. Immortals not knowing anything about the lore of the game. Get these people hold their feet to the fire.
I thought you guys were talking about some movie.
Vogue's over here sitting there saying that FL is solely in need of a leprechaun, but little does he know that there was a character running around that was a leprechaun.
There was actually 2 or 3 of them in the last couple of years.
Yep, not original.
There's been a few.
What I haven't seen
Slaughterhouse.
I haven't seen a unicorn thief that backstabs with its horn.
Maybe we can add that with the mount.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, is it too much to ask to put a mountable unicorn in a unicorn grove?
Well, you can.
Volg, I think we need to make this happen.
And I know there's a Pegasus mount, but
yeah, and it's weak. It attacks, and it sucks.
The whole point behind that, it attacks, but it's a pet. But it also flies, so you can at least cross water.
It doesn't make you fly though when you're on it.
Could have sworn it did.
You get tripped. I remember testing that, and it's like, why am I getting tripped on it?
I'm not talking it would give you fly for trip avoidance. I'm saying it will give you fly for overcoming environmental obstacles.
So you mean to tell me I'm mounted on a Pegasus and I'm getting tripped in combat? Come on.
What, you've never tripped a horse?
No, I haven't. I've never tripped a horse, and I don't think anyone else here has.
You tripped a horse, apparently.
It's got 4 legs. I mean, how do I trip all 4 of it at once?
Well, it's called cow tipping. You know how to do that, right?
What is that?
You're from Texas.
Yeah, you've never heard of cow tipping, Grim?
I grew up in the city.
What kind of Texan are you?
I grew up in the city. Dallas is a metropolis, man.
Dude, I grew up in Hawaii, and yet my ass knows all about cow tipping.
I mean, I've heard of it. I've seen it on Tommy Boy.
All right, so back to FL.
So no mounted combat enhancements is what you're telling me, and that.
I'm just saying that would be a big variable added to the balance of the game.
Yeah, I wish we had a team of developers. That'd be cool.
Yeah, actually, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, sure, that would be great. But well, yeah.
So that'll never happen, is what you're telling me, though.
It's unlikely to happen.
Okay.
Can't say never.
Well, technically, the FL staff are the developers, and they are a team. So.
Well, I mean, like, you know what I mean?
A team of coders.
You know what I'm saying?
What specifically, you're talking about?
What do you think about the status of limiting the elemental weapons?
The status of limiting elemental weapons? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, like, do y'all do a count of how many elemental weapons exist? And is there like a cap? Like, you can only have like 4 fire weapons.
You mean like weapons that hit vulns?
Yeah, an in-game hard cap elemental weapon.
There's not like a hard cap necessarily, but it is definitely paid attention to how many vulnerability weapons, what they are, and what their stats are. For sure, that's kept track of. at some point, at some level. But it also depends on the race that you're basically creating the weapon for. I mean, for instance, like Avian doesn't get as many perks as, say, Feral, and so there won't be as many air weapons as there are fire weapons, or like Dwarf.
And concerning fire weapons, you've also got the factor of fire giants having proficiency with said weapons too,
and fire magic.
Yeah,
There's very little air magic.
There is a lot that you have to think about when you're creating certain weapons.
But there's an abundance of fire above all, right?
No, I'd say there's water. Mostly water.
Oh, I don't know if you remember this, but from a previous podcast, we had a conversation about this, and I think we found out there's more fire. You want to rattle them off? You want to rattle them off to the people?
Did we find out there's more fire?
Yeah, I think so. I bet there's more fire. Do you want to bet money right now?
No, I don't want to bet money.
Let's do it. Blazing Dagger, Smoking Flail, Flaming Bardiche.
Well, Smoking Flail...
Which is interesting.
Back up
it's not a fire weapon.
Yeah, well, it's made of fire, but it is not a fire now.
Okay. All right, let's take that out. Okay,
so
Firebrand.
It won't hit the vuln. No, wait a second. So the Smoking Flail, it won't hit the vulnerability, the fire vulnerability, but it will get bonuses from fire giants, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's take that one off. Okay. Firebrand Spear, Inferno, Solar Mace, Solar Grasp of Wendigo. Not the Sunblade.
Well, they have a Flaming Longsword.
Flaming Longsword. There you go.
What, Durandal?
Yeah,
no,
Durandal.
Not Durandal.
Durandal's one, though, too, isn't it?
Yes, I believe it is.
So how many have I named already? That's like 1,000. That's literally over 1,000 weapons that have fire on it.
It's not quite that many, but...
It's only over 1,000 because, stuff like the Blazing Dagger is non-rare, and you could collect if you wanted, so desired.
Ooh, whip bluish fire. The blue whip fire.
There's a lot of fire weapons.
Yeah, and the pit weapons.
You're right.
They're fire. So, there's a shitload of fire.
Which ones of the pit weapons are fire? Flaming is not the same as fire.
Okay, I don't know. I thought maybe never mind. Disregard that then. So yeah, I guess that's all I can think of off the top of my head, I think.
Yeah, so anyways.
That's a lot.
That's like... Yeah, but also Feral is a crazy race too. It's got some... yeah. It's got some
and a good number of those were in Forsaken Lands beforehand for the fire giants.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot, though. I mean, are Ferals that powerful that they need that kind of
I think so, yes.
Oh, really?
I think we see time after time where Ferals are do fairly well in the right hands. I'm not saying that they're overpowered. Maybe they are. Maybe they need toning. I don't know. But
that's a discussion for another time.
Yeah. But they've definitely got a lot of perks. I mean, mini haste is mixed with certain classes is devastating.
Let's go back to Cabal promotions. From Trusted to Elder, what kind of time input is required there? Because, I mean, it goes to like the 10 hours or whatever before you're ready for the promotion, but it's like...
No, it should take longer than 10 hours. For sure.
Yeah.
Usually it takes, quite a bit of time. Not necessarily a ton amount of time. It all depends on what you're doing. So this would be my advice. If you're role playing, you're getting involved with Cabal politics, you're acting as leader or elder whenever you're trusted, and you feel that you meet all these requirements and you feel that you should be promoted to elder, and don't do it like a week after you get trusted. It's just not going to happen. 2 to 3 weeks down the line, if you feel like you've met all these things, maybe even then that's not long enough. I don't know. I guess it depends on the Cabal Immortal, because they're the ones that kind of set out how they want to do their Cabal. At that point, if you feel you deserve it but you're not getting it, talk to your Immortal leader. Like, send them a message on the forums. Go that route. Or send them a DM on Discord.
Or even talk to them in game.
Or you can talk to them in game if you don't feel like going the OOC route. But with the OOC route, I found that you can get because in game you're talking to a demon, or you're talking to a dragon, or you're talking to this immortal character, and they have their own agendas. But if you kind of talk to them out of character on the forum or on the Discord, then at least you can get an idea of what is expected of your character without having to get the intricacies of the mortal-immortal relationship involved. I mean, maybe that's what you should do. I don't know. I could be wrong in this, but I would suggest talking to that immortal to say, what are they looking for? Because otherwise, after a while, you're just going to feel like you're sitting there spinning your wheels and you don't know what direction to go or what you're doing. And then a lot of people get frustrated at that point, and maybe rightfully so, because they may or may not have any direction from their immortal leader. So that's why I would bring it up personally.
Yeah, definitely. Because there's been points in time where I'm sitting there and I'm like logging on and doing stuff, and I don't even really know. Like, I'll be doing RP and stuff and, like, writing notes and doing all this stuff, and it's like, I don't know if this is even going anywhere, because I don't hear anything back, Like, you gotta hear something back, because if you're just doing something, just throwing it into the void, like, what the fuck am I doing at that point, And it becomes really kind of, like, disenchanting, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word.
That is one thing that I think that we as immortals, some of us do better than others, for sure, but is keeping up with our cabal folks, making sure that they know what they need, or they know what we expect of them. And it's a little easier for a cabal mortal once we get like a leader or an elder in the cabal that's immortal, because we can kind of tell them and direct them and guide them, but while also giving them some of the reins so they can kind of take over and do their own thing. But yeah, if you have no direction, I mean, you got to figure out some way. I mean, I wouldn't just keep going in silence. I would send a note or, do something personally.
Yeah.
I agree. The other thing that may be is there might not be a position open. I mean, depending on how many people are on the cabal is how many elders are available. I mean, that can fluctuate between 1 and 2. Any more than that, you'd need a higher level immortal to kind of set them in there, from what I understand.
Do cabals need immortals?
I think so.
I think they should, or at least have an active one. Yes. I
mean, I can think you can make the argument where a cabal doesn't need an immortal, but I think it's just to keep the flow of the game, because we've noticed in the past whenever a cabal doesn't have an immortal, it kind of it becomes stale. Just from the sense of like promoting people and adding them, and because with everything else going on, the immortals, they need to keep track of that kind of stuff, but with everything going on, it can fall through the cracks for sure.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this person's been, at veteran for quite a while now, and they're doing stuff. Why hasn't they been promoted? Well, it could be that there's no immortal of that cabal, or it could be that the immortal is not there, and just or maybe they don't have the same playtime, and so they don't even realize that they're doing stuff.
Or RP bound.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of different scenarios. So, like I said, you could make the argument that cabals don't need immortals, but I think it's best to have that immortal oversight.
Somebody to stir the drink, if you will.
Yeah. Stir the pot.
I prefer to think of it as drinking, but whatever.
Stir the whole damn pool.
Yeah. Okay. I did see that. So who do you think are the worst immortals? Like, just the ones that need to go.
Really? We're not having
I don't think you're going to get an answer to that.
Oh, yeah. I'll answer that on my own personal podcast later. I have no say on it. I haven't interacted with all of them.
I mean,
I'm not gonna-
player
I'm not
opinion
gonna-
will widely vary from person to person. Some people have grudges, other people don't. I mean, that's entirely subjective.
Yeah, I'm not in a place to make a judgment on that anyway, just because I haven't interacted with all of them. I don't know anything about them.
I think I know who the greatest one is.
I think we all know who the greatest one is. I think that goes without saying.
Yeah, Rygothran. I mean, Anume. I mean, wait.
No,
Okay.
the greatest is 100% Anume. For
Yeah,
sure.
everything Anume has done has been beyond the expectation that any player could have had, and she has engineered a marvel in modern gaming, in my opinion. And I didn't think that someone could exist that had everything they touched turn to gold like that until I saw Anume.
You're just laying it on thick.
This shit's getting deep. I'm gonna have to pull out my hip waders.
Okay, so what I was going to say is because of the amount of time and effort that she has devoted to FL, whether people agree with some of the decisions that she makes or not, she has spent a lot of time and energy on FL. And the other mortals have as well, but I don't, from my personal perspective, they have not spent as much time and effort as Anume has. I can't imagine the amount of hours that she has on that character. That's
Well, yeah,
what I would say.
she's the oldest.
Isn't she the longest served immortal at this junction?
Yeah, so that's what you're saying kind of doesn't. I mean, it makes sense, but it's like duh because she's been there the longest.
Yeah, but guess what? I mean, I'm sure that there may be immortals that have been here longer than me, but I might have more hours than them. I'm not going to say it's 100% sure, but I'm just saying that she has spent a lot of effort and time. I mean, the whole Valmiran plot was her making all the changes and her and I trying to keep track of everything from like 4 or 5 to 6, 7 or 8 players at a time, all their changes, how to put them in, where they go, and it was an enormous task, and just that one plot alone that spanned months of time. I mean, it took us a lot of time. She was giving up hours and hours on her weekends to do it.
Yep. Her genius is matched only by her beauty.
So yeah. So anyways, that's I would say she's the best based off of that. Maybe I'm just I'm just trying to get a promotion here. That's what this is.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
but with that, then couldn't we say anything that we think is wrong with FL is also her fault?
No.
Because nothing's wrong with FL.
Oh, I can't say nothing's wrong with FL. I won't say that. But
actually,
I think
I really don't.
Go ahead.
I don't know what to say. I don't think there really is a lot wrong with it. I think some things get blown out of proportion. I think the biggest problem is player culture. It's not the game, it's us.
I will agree with that. There's a lot of things in FL that can change and needs to change, and it's mostly player side.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The game is, in my opinion, the game is great. The culture behind it, though, is what it's messed up, but that's on us. That's nothing the staff can fix.
I think the game has a lot of things that could be better, as far as areas, equipment, balance between the classes, and adding new and extra things. I think there's a lot of things that could be changed or fixed. However, yeah, I would say that from my perspective, although limited because I am an immortal, it seems to me that most players who leave, it is because another player drove them off by what they did. Now, whether that was rational or not is a different story, but most players are turned off by other players. Some players, though, have been turned off by certain things that we haven't changed within, a good amount of time, and that's just unfortunately the way that it is because we're all volunteer staff.
Yeah,
I'm sure people get tired of hearing that, but
everybody's got wives and kids and stuff like that, and they all have things to do. That's understandable.
Yeah, but I would say a lot of it is player driven, and so until we as players try to be a little more classy, that doesn't mean that we have to break character. That doesn't mean that we have to be nice to them, but just classy. I mean, just not treat other players like dirt and make them not want to play the game. I mean, there's a certain tone that you can have. You can be evil and do evil shit and not make other people not want to play the game. I think there have been plenty of examples of characters like that.
Yeah. I mean, let's get real. We'll never have a new player stick around if that schoolyard bully mentality stays. I got called a Democrat once for suggesting that we should just be cooler to each other. A Democrat.
I'm not seeing how that's an insult. I'm not seeing how it's a compliment either, but I don't...
just the fact that I got called anything for it. You know? Like I was insulted, I think it was meant as an insult, but just to be verbally harassed for even suggesting that showed a lot to me about where people's heads were about the whole thing. I said something along the lines of, just because you have a power combo does not mean that you have to wreck everybody that you see.
No,
well, that's true.
That is true. But you have to understand that some people get different things out of FL, and some people, what they get out of FL is winning, and winning at PK, and so that's what they enjoy. They don't necessarily enjoy the roleplay aspect of the game. They do the minimum that they can to roleplay to get past that barrier of enforced roleplay, and then they PK. And I think that's all right. I think as long as they're doing roleplay at some level, even if it's terrible roleplay, at least they're trying, and they're at least getting their, they're getting what they get out of the game, which is PK. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to run people over, like a mad person, and ruin people's experiences. But, it happens. It for sure happens. You know what? It happens to players that are great PKers. If, for instance, a good example, I won't call out any characters, but whenever you're on all the time, and even if you're losing, you're constantly like coming back and coming back and coming back, and you're just ruthless, and you just keep going and going, and it really makes it to where players don't want to play. And it's not that they don't want to fight you, it's that they want to break. They want to be able to go get equipment. They want to be able to roleplay. They want to be able to get consumables. They want to be able to just basically play the other portions of the game, but they can't because they constantly have someone badgering them 100%.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's why some players quit. I've seen players quit. I can name one 100% sure right now that quit because of that very reason. And so, we have to be cognizant of that. You have to understand there's other people playing the game, and you have to, treat them, with respect within the rules of the game. And, I think you can do that, and you can still be evil, and you can still, treat their character like trash, but that doesn't mean that your player has to treat the other player like trash. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, I mean, evil doesn't equate PKing. Like, you can be evil by writing notes about how you just pillaged this town and, hung all their children by the necks, from the trees or something like that. That's evil. You can do that. You don't have to PK somebody.
A good example. Well, you can still PK somebody, but a good example is you PK him and you don't take items that you don't need. Like, if you don't need this ring of accuracy, don't take it. But what people do is they take it to either spite them, or sometimes they take it to weaken their opponent so they don't have as much trouble. But that doesn't mean they necessarily need to do that. I mean, basically at that point you're just making it easier for yourself, and I guess all you want is easy mode. I guess that's fine, but you don't necessarily have to take that ring. You don't have to sacrifice it. And I don't know, that's different. People have different schools of thought here. Some people say, I'm going to take it and I'm going to sacrifice it because I killed this person, whatever. But I don't think that you have to, and I think that kind of behavior ruins other people's experiences.
And sometimes you need to do that in order to deter them. Again, you're going with the insistent attacking and constantly being there. So, they throw themselves on you. You kill them. They keep coming back. You kill them again. They keep coming back. You take some armor. You take their backpacks in order to try to give me a break.
Yeah, but I mean that tactic on those kind of characters, it doesn't work, because they're just going to get some crap item and keep coming. Because I'm sure it's for them, it's just a numbers game. Eventually, you're going to slip up, and I'm going to get you. I mean, I assume. I don't play like that personally.
Possible, I suppose.
If somebody's awesome and I happen to get the kill, I'm going to take what I need for sure. But I think the prime issue at the core of it is you are trying to blend a highly competitive PvP atmosphere with like a rich like storytelling atmosphere, and some people are on the extreme sides of each one of those spectrums, and I think those two different people won't. It's hard to marry those two together harmoniously.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think FL for the most part does a good job at it. I think obviously there are moments when it doesn't.
Well, what other game what other MUD does that? You know what I mean? Like we're kind of a standalone. I couldn't even name one. Maybe AR or some crap like that. But I guess like people that play Dungeons and Dragons, they're not constantly killing each other. They enjoy the storytelling experience, and it's fun like that. And some people want to play FL like that, but then you get people who play FL like it's Call of Duty or something, and it's hard to blend those two.
Yeah, I think as players we need to find a balance there.
Just ban them, right? Just ban them.
No,
get new players.
No, I think that we need to find a balance. I think there should be a rule, like a harassment rule, and I mean we've told people to chill out before. But it's kind of hard to tell people to chill out when there's no rule against doing what they're doing. There's no rule against constantly, overbearing. There's no rule against that. And so, I think that we should have some kind of outline that says, hey,
like how many?
I don't know. It's difficult.
How many players do you have to lose before that's implemented?
Well, there's the rule to that death should be avoided, but at the same time, nothing hardcore about skirmish tactics.
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely a difficult situation because people, like I said, they get different things out of the game, and some people that's what they enjoy. They enjoy that, like you said, Call of Duty aspect where it's match after match after match after match, and there's some people that don't want to be bothered with that kind of PK at all. And then there's people that want both. They want to PK and they want to role play and they want to find that happy middle. And I would say that more people are bothered by the Call of Duty style, the constant attacks, than the other two styles. 100% for sure. It drives more people away. But it's not just that. It's also, like I said, it's not just you constantly doing that, but it's also like whenever you do win, or how do you treat that situation? It chases players away. I mean, if you look at Dash Chimp, I mean, he was a good example. A lot of times it wasn't that he died, it was just how he died, the way that they came across. And I think part of that was FL is just kind of a brutal place, and you could at any second anyone is going to attack you. Obviously there's restrictions there with alignment and all that, but you just don't know. At any time a Dark Knight could walk up and fireball you and try to kill you, right? So you have to constantly be prepared for that. Trying to pick out what's just the dangers of FL versus a player actually trying to be an ass to you. I mean, it's difficult.
Okay, and on that bombshell, I need to head out.
Yeah, I guess we can end this here.
Thanks for tuning in to the Forsaken Podcast. Catch us again next time. Hope you all have a wonderful day.